Hey folks, this is Soul with an off-day video, although I just couldn't wait for this one. For the past few days or so, I've been taking in your feedback over the Inspiration Catalyst. That's the thing that's going to turn regular gear into tier pieces that is not out yet, that should have been out like way sooner, according to a lot of folks. And you know what? You got me! I didn't really care much one way or another, but after really stepping back and wanting to find kind of a compromise between the developer intent and what players want, I agree. The Catalyst should be out sooner than the current 6-week wait. But then that'd be a really short video. So today, I'm going to break down this feedback into a few pieces that are a bit easier to understand and talking points that we can take to developers. Because odds are that these compromises have already been said in other circles, and I just missed them or got drowned out. So, let's get to it. Like the video, subscribe for more copium-filled ideas, and let's first math out what's going on here. The Catalyst will have come out 6 weeks after Season 1 of Dragonflight began. And the 4th week after the Catalyst launches, players will have up to 4 charges of this Catalyst, which will effectively give all players' characters access to a complete 4-piece set if they get the pieces that they can convert. So we can kind of say that the limit to where the WoW team cares about pacing the rate of people getting tier is like around 10 weeks. At 6 weeks, they're like, okay, yeah, let's open this up a little bit, right? And then at 10, they're like, okay, all bets are off, have at it. That is, I think, the current stance that the WoW team is taking, just using them as an example. The main critique is that the 6-week wait is too long. It should be 0 weeks or 4 or, somewhere in between. I've heard very few, if any, complaints over the 1 week per charge thing, and I've mostly heard praise over how it affects all current and future characters. That's pretty great. So, how about this? Let's say we're at Season 2 of Dragonflight. Season 2 of Dragonflight begins. We get both the normal, the heroic, and the mythic raid opening up, just like Season 1. Ta-da! So, that's week 1. Now, week 2, Raid Finder will open up, and maybe the Race to World First is over during this raid reset. Now, on week 3, the Catalyst opens up, allowing for 1 charge to be gained for all characters. But instead of a charge building being made available like each week afterwards, let's change that to 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks. That's going to mean on week 5 and 7 and 9 of the season, 1 more charge is going to be made available. And then on week 10 and afterwards, we're going to get a quest to do a charge like every week. And we're just going to have it like that until the new season starts, and then we go back to that early rotation. And that's kind of it. So what do we have with this sort of schedule? Like right now, week 6 is going to be like the start of the creation catalyst, but in this theoretical model, by week 6, players will have had the opportunity to convert 2 pieces of gear into tier stuff. Now, I'd say on average that this would give tons and tons of people 4-piece by now, if not already. Meanwhile, unlucky people will have only 2 pieces, and the unluckiest who haven't even had pieces that they could convert into tier will have none. So the Catalyst being available earlier on, it's not a catch-all. It's not going to get everyone. And I haven't even talked about people who don't play season content. Maybe that'll be a totally separate video. But I'd say among the demographic that is gear motivated, they're at least going to have 2-piece without much of a problem. I think that would help people feel better about the timing. It would keep them motivated to collect a gear that they can convert into tier in the future, increasing them MAUs, whoop-de-doo. Which also brings me to how player behavior is going to be altered with the Catalyst launching sooner. It's not so unreasonable to think that, well, if Catalyst charges are coming as soon as they are, then when loot drops, players are going to be thinking of not just the drop that they just got, but what the drop could change into in a few hours, or a week, or 3 or 4 weeks from then. No doubt we're going to see situations or responses in the comments below even that people are going to take gear from each other without the intent to use it now, but to use it for a catalyst charge that they won't have for like another 2 weeks or so. And this will definitely cause friction in groups, notably with pickup groups. There aren't a lot of easy solves for that sort of player behavior, and by that we can think of a couple of ideas that you probably won't agree with, but let's make up some examples anyway. Let's start with messing with the way that we roll for loot. Even now, the WoW team is tweaking the way that we roll need on loot drops to where we're not supposed to be able to roll need on gear that's a downgrade of what we already have. Now, maybe there's a way that the game can detect our intent to turn something into tier later and then deprioritize us in the need roll if we rolled against someone who would immediately put that piece on instead. It sounds complicated. It's not my favorite idea. I don't have the intelligence to really think that through, so let's move on. Another idea would be to add a loot roll button, like roll for catalyst charges or something like that. And then the game would then prioritize need and then catalyst and then greed, and something like that. And here's another one. You know how when you get loot, there's like a window of 2 or so hours where you can trade it to someone else? So how about within that same window, you have to use it in the creation catalyst, or maybe you have a day or like a week, and if you don't use it, then you're no longer able to change it. The idea here is that this would curb that mentality of a player who's rolling for gear that they won't use until a catalyst charge is available. Now, I'm gonna stop right there because people would be rightfully pissed about this idea because they've been saving gear right now with the expectation that at any time during the season, they can use the catalyst. That's how it's been. All I'm trying to point out here is that the catalyst changes player behavior when it comes to loot rolls. The WoW team must have made up, they must have thought of some stuff or made up some models based on that possible behavior and then settled on the schedule that we're going to get in a few weeks. Which is also to say that they don't trust us to treat each other well, and I don't blame them, but I think in the next go, they ought to be a little bit less strict and allow some of this bad luck protection to kick in earlier and roll out slowly over time. Now, that's going to be all that I got for right now, and I open it up to you for discussion and to tear me apart. Good talk, hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and off I go. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.